Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. How many eras? Emperor Qing's face lit up with joy. When you set off, just send a message. Okay, Luo Feng nodded. The five present lost interest and quickly dispersed. Aside from Luo Feng, the other four mainly ventured outside the source world. At this moment in Huyang City, countless cultivators inside the city were in shock, staring at the gigantic claw lifting the whole city, with each of the five claws stretching out like five continuous mountain ranges. What in the world is going on? How did Huyang City start flying? The cultivators in the city, including the disciples of Blade River Sect, were both shocked and bewildered. The godly kings of the land of origin could guess some of the truth, but ordinary disciples of Blade River Sect had little understanding of the godly king tier, only knowing that their sect master, Luohi God King, was a very powerful entity in the land of origin, yet not as much as the emperors and monarchs of the two ancient countries. Whoosh! 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 Inside the grand hall of the Blade River Sect headquarters, the high-level members all gathered. Sect Master. Master. Luo Feng sat in the main seat, with Morosa and others seated beside him, followed by standing figures such as Moyu Qingyang, Chuyu, other Primal Chaos Realm elders, guest elders, and then a group of registered disciples. I've called everyone here today to announce a few matters, Luo Feng said with a smile. First, the enormous claws appearing outside are a secret treasure I refined, the palm world, isolated from the external world and causality, even the ultimate realm of God King cannot pry into it. The Oval Fire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Even the ultimate realm cannot pry into it. The hall was filled with the Blade River Sect's upper echelon, and they all realized the terrifying implication of this statement. The second matter, Elder Luo Sa, is actually a pinnacle sector beast, possessing the strength of the ultimate realm of God King, Luo Feng continued. Many disciples in the hall were utterly baffled. The second master is a sector beast. Moyu Qingyang also stared at Morosa, unable to believe that his second master he met in Huyang City, who was always eating, drinking, and incessantly teaching him cultivation, could exist at the ultimate realm of God King. Morosa blinked at Moyu Qingyang, and then glanced around the hall with a smile. I, Morosa, can finally freely display my strength. The third matter, Luo Feng said, I have another identity, that is the Galaxy Ruler. Everyone in the Great Hall was stunned. Yuan was still calm, but the other elders and disciples were bewildered. He who set the rules of the land of origin, and even caused several emperors and monarchs of the two ancient countries to perish, the Galaxy Ruler, is my master. Moyu Qingyang, Chuyu, and many registered disciples felt their hearts tremble. Who is the Galaxy Ruler? The highest entities on the land of origin today are the three entities Primogenitor Yang Feng, Thunder Ancestor, Ancestral God of the Galaxy. Yes, the countless cultivators of the land of origin now refer to the Galaxy Ruler as Ancestral God of the Galaxy, looking up to and venerating this Ancestral God of the Galaxy, who eliminated the threat of the great sinners. For weaker cultivators, the threat of the great sinners was immense. Living normally, one day, the entire tribe could be raided and devoured, or even entire cities swallowed. This randomness of super disasters was what many cultivators feared. In the past, they could only endure, deeming it bad fate upon encountering. But the ancestral God of the galaxy set the rules that eradicated this disaster, fundamentally changing the fates of countless creatures, and naturally earning the gratitude of many. From now on, the territories governed by the Galaxy Divine Country, including the territory of Blade River Sect, will expand to encompass 1,019 primal chaos prefectures, Luo Feng said. Ever since he could stand shoulder to shoulder with the ancestors of the two countries, small countries around the galaxy, Divine Country also voluntarily pledged allegiance, expanding the territorial range of the galaxy, Divine Country. Further adding Blade River Sect's 155 Primal Chaos Prefectures, officially breaking through 1,000 Primal Chaos Prefectures. In all the Primal Chaos Prefectures, within the territory of the galaxy Divine Country, Blade River Sect will set up branches, Luo Feng continued. The high-level members of Blade River Sect present realized Blade River Sect might become the #1 sect on the land of origin. Like the two ancient countries, the core ruling power is the royal family. But within the galaxy Divine Country, Luo Feng doesn't have a vast imperial clan lineage, instead, he's fully cultivating the disciples of Blade River Sect. Without a doubt, the numerous disciples of Blade River Sect are the core force governing the vast territories of the galaxy Divine Country. Blade River Sect's future status might rival that of the royal families of the two ancient countries. The news I shared today does not need to be kept secret, and can be told to all disciples within the sect, Luo Feng said with a smile. Yes, everyone in the hall responded. Luo Feng then stood up. Moving forward, the affairs of the galaxy Divine Country and Blade River Sect are mainly overseen by the ancestral god and Morosa. After speaking, Luo Feng stepped away and disappeared. Only then did the great hall relax. Second Master Moyu Qingyang immediately approached Morosa. Father earlier spoke about Morosa. Morosa, Luo Sao my names. I had been cautious in my actions to keep my sector beast identity secret, Morosa said with smiling eyes at Moyu Qingyang. Look at you, personally taught by a sector beast, yet cultivation is still so difficult for you. Moyu Qingyang now understood the incredible opportunity he had encountered. Great Master, Galaxy Ruler, one of today's highest entities on the land of origin. Second Master, Pinnacle Sector Beast. Being valued by Master, taught by Second Master, is my greatest fortune, Moyu Qingyang said. You should thank your father. When my master and I came to the land of origin through the cycles of reincarnation, the first cultivator we met was your father Moyu Hu, Morosa chuckled. Of course, among Moyu Hu's 3 children, Luo Feng chose Moyu Qingyang. Luo Feng arrived in Chu capital, paid a visit to his master Emperor Chu, and described some secrets from these past 1500 eras. Chu capital, Marquis Chuyu's mansion. I won't see anyone. Emperor Chuyu stood in the hall and scolded, no matter who comes to visit, refuse them all. Yes. The butler cheerily responded, immediately rushing out. Father, is uncle really the galaxy ruler? In the hall, the 3 youths were all extremely excited, and a dignified woman beside them was even more thrilled. Emperor Chuyu turned his head to his 3 sons. This information has been confirmed by Flame Wind Pavilion. All disciples of Blade River Sect have spread the word, so it's certainly true. Father, have you contacted uncle? The oldest son asked. Quiet. Emperor Chuyu scolded, today must be your uncle's busiest day, with his identity revealed, he must have many matters to tend to. Let's not disturb him. Also, remember, I am merely a good friend of brother Luo He, you must not behave recklessly on this basis. If you bring disaster, no need for the imperial clan to punish, I will take action myself. Emperor Chuyu admonished. He knew the temperaments of his 3 children. Their father being an imperial marquis from the royal family, they usually lived carefree. Now knowing that their uncle was the ancestral god of the galaxy, wouldn't they turn heaven and earth upside down? What your father said is right, you must not bring disaster upon us, the dignified woman also spoke. Although I have a relationship of affection with brother Luo He, such affection is ultimately limited and can be exhausted, Emperor Chuyu said to his 3 sons, I certainly do not wish for your trivial matters to deplete the affection between me and brother Luo He. Father, rest assured. We understand, both three sons obediently replied. Emperor Chuyu also felt helpless. Although he was talented within the royal family, his sons were rather mediocre. Emperor Chuyu pondered. The hierarchies within the flame-wind ancient country's royal family were strict. Emperors, godly kings, royal marquises, and even among the marquises, he wasn't equal to those transcenders of primal chaos realm. But now it was different. Who didn't know that he and the galaxy ruler were like brothers in life and death, the galaxy ruler being the first guest elder he had recruited. With this bond, even the emperors within the flame-wind ancient country's royal family had to regard him seriously. Overwhelming wealth and honor are coming. I must remain steady, Emperor Chuyu silently said. Not only must he himself remain steady, but he also had to watch over his three sons and wife, keeping an eye on the family. Emperor Chuyu sat leisurely drinking in the cave mansion. Back then, giving Luo He a guest elder spot, Luo He also owed me a favor. This favor, its value must have increased manifold by now. Emperor Chuyu poured himself another drink. No hurry, no hurry. It's only been over a millennium, and the value of this favor has already become so high. If it were tens of millennia, hundreds of millennia, the value of the favor would probably be different again. Emperor Chuyu had never thought of using this favor. He was very patient. He would not use this favor unless it was absolutely necessary. He understood that the value of this favor would only continue to soar. Even now, thinking about getting a favor owed by the galaxy ruler, how difficult would that be? Even if it were a secret treasure above the godly king, the galaxy ruler wouldn't want to owe a favor, would he? Luo Feng announced the news to all disciples of the Blade River Sect, and also did not keep it secret, so naturally, the news quickly spread across the entire land of origin. God kings of Yu Kingdom, members of the Reincarnation Tower, and others all sighed. In flame-wind ancient country, Wind Zhong City. That idiot Jong Yang, that fool, even with the best of temperaments, Wind Chapter God King couldn't help but curse now. A huge opportunity, and it was ruined by her. Her two mentors, one is the galaxy ruler, and the other is a pinnacle sector beast at the ultimate realm of God King. How did she mess this up? Wind Chapter God King was frantic with irritation. Just a small opportunity slipping through the fingers of those two figures could benefit him, a first realm godly king, immensely. But now, all was lost. Pass down the order. Wind Chapter God King was very displeased, feeling suffocated. He immediately ordered, completely expel Jong Yang's lineage from the family. Erase them all from the family records. At this moment, he didn't want that lineage to share any benefits linked to him being a godly king. That foolish lineage didn't deserve to enjoy any benefits of the royal family. Jong Yang's lineage still housed over a dozen eternal true gods, numerous true gods of void space, and true gods. This lineage had long been marginalized, relocated to a common small city within the territory of flame-wind ancient country, becoming the ruling family of this ordinary small town. What, expelled from the family? Names removed from the family records? Impossible. The descendants of this lineage were all in panic. Without the protection of the royal family, they would only have themselves to rely on. Perhaps the more than 10 eternal true gods could still live comfortably, but the lives of other members would be far less leisurely. Yang, we have been expelled from the family. These descendants here are just true gods of the void and even weaker true gods. Zhong's father brought a group of descendants to find Jong Yang. Jong Yang, in seclusion, looked at the tens of thousands of descendants brought by her father in a daze. Father, what happened? How were we expelled from the family? Jong Yang asked. You still aren't aware. Her father looked at his daughter. The second mentor of Moyu Qingyang, Elder Luo Sa, is actually a pinnacle sector beast at the ultimate realm of God King. Her mentor Luo He God King is even the galaxy ruler. Jong Yang listened in a daze. Seeing this, Jong's father sighed. I will lead tens of thousands of descendants to relocate, the rest of the descendants will be left to you. After all, as a disciple of the God King, and having had a relationship with Moyu Qingyang, they are safer with you. Even if separated, because of the past relationship, Jong Yang's place was actually quite safe. Even the most evil ancient existences would have to consider carefully. I understand, Jong Yang nodded, feeling a bit overwhelmed looking at the tens of thousands of descendants. Moyu Qingyang's great master and second mentor, are they the galaxy ruler and pinnacle sector beast? Jong Yang felt as if everything was like a dream. She had once followed Moyu Qingyang to meet Luo Feng and also Morosa, but at the time had not realized anything extraordinary. On an island at the heart of a lake in the infinite space treasure trove, Luo Feng sat cross-legged on the grass, pondering. The path of life has reached the ultimate, yet the path of destruction is still lacking. With the help of materials from primordial life at the ultimate realm, his strength could be substantially enhanced, thus naturally most of his focus was on the path of life. Moreover, with the assistance of those life materials, understanding the path of life became smoother. The path of destruction, on the other hand, might be worth looking into this perfection level inheritance. Luo Feng checked the inheritances in the infinite space treasure vault. Perfection level inheritance should be helpful for cultivation. 9 realms of extinction, the perfection level inheritance of the great Tao of destruction. The first realm only requires 100 reward points to exchange. The second and third realms, 10,000 reward points each. Just to begin, a spiritual will beyond God King level is needed to attempt cultivation. It's just 100 reward points, let's exchange for the first realm and give it a try. Luo Feng was full of curiosity about the perfection level inheritance, wondering just how powerful an inheritance had to be to dare claim perfection. With just a thought from Luo Feng, the exchange was made, and the reward points decreased slightly, to 64,093.03. Buzz. A flood of information poured into Luo Feng's mind. 9 realms of extinction. First realm, peeping realm. In this realm, one can peek into destruction memories branded on the great Tao of destruction of the origin world. Once all destruction memories are peered into, while still maintaining sanity, the first realm is then considered mastered. Reminder, only attempt if possessing a will beyond God King level. Otherwise, you will be assimilated by the great Tao of destruction origin. Reminder, even with a strong will, one might still fall into insanity, during the peek into the branded destruction memories, becoming utterly mad. Cultivators need to control the pace of peeping, and not be overly hasty. What followed was detailed cultivation methods. Luo Feng was somewhat stunned. What is this? The entire inheritance, without any detailed guidance on any branch of the great Tao of destruction. Just having me peek into the memories branded on the Tao of destruction. Luo Feng was somewhat baffled. He himself didn't even know that destruction memories were branded on the great Tao of destruction. Luo Feng carefully studied the detailed cultivation content of this first realm. This realm was merely about peeking. It was more for heart honing. Because even a will beyond God King level could go insane, one needed to control the pace. Heart honing. Even if it's just a method for heart honing, it's worth the 100 reward points, Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng from the land of origin. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Luo Feng jerked, turning to look. Stood about 10 odd paces away was an elder, watching Luo Feng with a smiling gaze. How could this be? With my spiritual will, how could a cultivator get close to me without my noticing? Even now, I sense nothing but void with my spiritual will. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. His eyes clearly saw, but other senses detected nothing. My name is Yuan, the elder said with a smile. I created this space. Senior Yuan, Luo Feng immediately realized who the visitor was, and bowed respectfully. Luo Feng pays his respects to Senior Yuan. In the continent origin world, anyone who achieved the ultimate realm had received benefits from Senior Yuan. Various treasure locations, remnants of special life forms, secret techniques, and more, were all left behind by Yuan. You indeed have the courage to exchange for this 9 realms of extinction, the elder laughed. This inheritance is only opened for exchange up to the first 5 realms for those at the Divine King stage. Even then, despite many talented cultivators attempting it over countless years, none have succeeded in mastering it. The most successful one only managed to cultivate up to the 4th realm. There were quite a few who went mad or became demons. The elder shook his head. My friend who created it was insane. He created all 9 realms with the belief that once mastered, one would at least escape the braided cage and become a world-level primordial life. But his inheritance isn't suitable for cultivation. I am here to see you because I meet every ultimate realm being. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. To become an ultimate realm being in the origin world, each and every one is a promising seed. Only upon meeting you did I discover that the 9-layered little tower had actually ended up in your hands. The 9-layered little tower, the Star Tower. Luo Feng guessed. You call it the Star Tower? Yes, I forged it. Yuan nodded. In the past, we joined forces to kill a primordial ancestor, and that primordial ancestor's body had 3 blood-colored scales. I threw one inside the little tower and simply forged it, making the little tower a vessel for the blood-colored scale. In fact, that blood-colored scale remains intact, hidden deep within the tower. Even with my strength, I cannot wear it down, only barely use it. Yuan sighed with a smile. We generally leave materials from primordial ancestor bodies to the most dazzling and talented group of cultivators. But among them, the ones who could escape the braided cage, are still too few. So, I thought of nurturing some youngsters among the weakest cultivators. That's why there's the little tower, which went to that primordial cosmos, searching among countless creatures for its owner. To become its owner even during your weakest, you've already proven to be exceptional. Rarely did Yuan speak so much. After all, this ultimate realm being was somewhat more outstanding than usual, and had even received an artifact much earlier on. Thank you, Senior Yuan. Luo Feng now fully understood that strictly speaking, the Star Tower was actually forged by Senior Yuan. Is there anything you wish to ask? Said Yuan. Whatever I can advise you on, I will try my best to guide. Luo Feng was well aware of how rare this opportunity was. Even with exceptional talent, this might be the only chance to meet Yuan. Senior Yuan, Luo Feng said respectfully, I wish to break out of the braided cage. How should I pursue my cultivation in the future? Please advise me. This is what many cultivators want to know. Yuan nodded. My infinite space treasure trove holds all the perfection level inheritances, all created by beings of the same level as me. All the special grade inheritances are created by world-level primordial life. So the exchange of these 2 kinds of inheritance is limited only to godly king level. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Do you know why you can't exchange for the subsequent ones? Luo Feng listened. We used to release some subsequent inheritances, but the subsequent inheritances had too great of an influence on cultivators, even affecting their own exploration of the path, Yuan said. The path of the great Tao is such. Those who learn from me live, and those who imitate me perish. Everyone who breaks out of the braided cage is unique. To blindly imitate is to walk the path to death, Yuan said. After realizing this, we restricted the exchange of subsequent inheritances. It is limited only to Divine King stage. Luo Feng understood. Senior Yuan and those world-level primordial life beings are of too high a realm. The inheritances they created were too perfect, successors following these inheritances would naturally be influenced by them. There are some inheritances in the infinite space treasure vault that can directly lead to the half-primordial level, Yuan said. The creators of those inheritances themselves did not succeed. The inheritance is still rough, yet the intention is extremely lofty. If subsequent cultivators can perfect this intention on their own, they have hopes of breaking out of the braided cage. Luo Feng realized that the 8 tribulations life form was recorded in the treasure trove. However, this is still slightly influenced by the pioneers, Yuan said. The best method is to completely grope in the dark by oneself. In the dark, one could lose their direction, right? Luo Feng asked. This was also the biggest obstacle after surpassing the godly king level. That's why you all can obtain special life remnants, Yuan said. Special life remnants are world-level primordial life remnants. The mysteries contained are at the world-level primordial tier. These remnants are like a lamp in the far reaches of the dark. Move towards that lamp. Even if the light is dim, and you may wander in the dark, the ultimate destination is that lamp. Yuan looked at Luo Feng. Your chance is even better. Your 9-layered tower contains a piece of blood scale from a primordial ancestor. You may hope to go even further in the dark. Luo Feng nodded slightly. The remnants of world-level primordial life can be obtained by killing just one, and can be split into billions, Yuan said. We can make it so that any cultivator, at the ultimate realm in the source world can get at least one. But primordial ancestor-level remnants are much rarer. So it's much harder to obtain them, Yuan said. Once you go beyond the source world, you will understand. So, value that star tower. Luo Feng nodded. A single special life remnant could fetch an extremely high price in the outside world. See a thnovelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What would be the price of primordial ancestor-level remnants? How intense would the competition be? This perfection level 9 realms of extinction inheritance, you may exchange up to the first 3 realms only. Any more would not be meaningful, Yuan said. It's unnecessary to exchange for other inheritances. You should explore and create your own inheritance to go further. Accumulate reward points. The more points you have, the more precious treasures you can exchange, Yuan smiled. I've said all that needs to be said. From here on, it's up to you to walk your path. After saying this, Yuan disappeared into thin air. Luo Feng immediately bowed. Thank you, Senior Yuan. Yuan's visit this time was purely casting a wide net, treating every ultimate realm being in the source world the same. At least for now, Yuan did not see Luo Feng as particularly outstanding. Among the many source worlds, among billions of worlds, and throughout the long river of endless years, Yuan has seen many who were more dazzling than Luo Feng at this moment. But how many of them can break out of the braided cage? Let's follow what Senior Yuan said in exchange for the first 3 realms of 9 realms of extinction. Luo Feng decided after the exchange, and did not use any more reward points, choosing to save them for now. This encounter with Yuan confirmed to Luo Feng that the other inheritances in the infinite space treasure vault were of little significance. The biggest gain was knowing the origin of the Star Tower. Within Huyang City, Luo Feng looked at the Star Tower in his hand. This blood-colored scale is perfectly intact, hidden deep within the Star Tower. Even Senior Yuan and the others can't erase it. He had previously thought that the blood-colored scale with 12 colored edges was the manifestation of the convergence of rule mysteries. It turns out that it was so powerful that even Yuan and the others could not erase it. According to Senior Yuan, the mystery of the Star Tower blood-colored scale is even more profound. In the dark, I should focus on it for my cultivation, Luo Feng realized. The other special life remnants were secondary. I also don't know if I can break out of the braided cage, Luo Feng thought. This video will end here.